Close your eyes and let the quiet of the night wrap gently around you. Tonight we wander into the ancient world, a world where divine women were worshipped, where cults gathered in candlelight, and where the soft whisper of ritual carried the soul closer to mystery. The stories you will hear are not of fear or judgment, but of beauty, devotion, and the eternal longing of humankind for connection with the sacred feminine. Like stars scattered across the dark sky, these tales will shimmer softly as you drift into sleep. If these stories help you rest, let us know in the comments where you are listening from. And if your heart finds peace in these journeys, gently subscribe so that more nights may be filled with calm storytelling. The night is gentle. Soft air drifts across stone courtyards, carrying the faint scent of oil and flowers. The stars are hidden behind a veil of cloud, yet their presence can still be felt, quiet and patient, as if listening. Beneath that sky, a temple stands, its walls worn smooth by time, its steps polished by the countless feet of those who once entered in reverence. Inside the temple, a flame burns. It is small yet unbroken. It has burned for centuries, fed by careful hands, tended with devotion. It flickers but never dies, as though it remembers every prayer ever spoken before it. You step closer in your mind. The flame glows like a heartbeat. Its light is golden, wrapping the stone walls in warmth. The shadows it creates sway gently, as if the temple itself breathes. There is no rush here, only the rhythm of fire, the hush of silence, and the faint echo of history. Long ago, women were chosen to tend this flame. They rose before dawn, moving with quiet grace, their footsteps soft against the stone floors. Their robes whispered like the turning of pages. They carried clay lamps filled with sacred oil, their light weaving through the darkness like stars returning to earth. Each woman bowed before the eternal fire. They lowered their eyes, not out of fear but out of reverence. The flame was more than fire. It was memory. It was life. It was the thread connecting mortal hearts to the breath of the divine. To care for it was to guard the bridge between heaven and earth. The temple halls echoed not with noise, but with stillness. The kind of stillness that feels alive, as if silence itself were a song. When the women entered, their presence was not marked by words, but by the faint brush of robes, the sound of oil poured slowly, and the soft breath of prayer. The goddess was honored through the flame. Though her statues were carved in stone, her spirit was believed to dwell in the light that never faded. To look at the fire was to glimpse her eternal gaze. To warm one's hands by it was to feel her blessing. The women tended it as though they were tending the goddess herself, each spark a reminder of her unseen presence. Imagine the flicker of the fire now. It bends and sways as though dancing to a music only it can hear. Its glow reaches outward, touching the walls, the ceiling, the carved pillars where stories of old are etched. Scenes of harvest, of rivers, of women raising their arms to the heavens. The stone tells its story in silence, and the fire brings those carvings to life, each figure glowing in the gentle gold. Time in this temple flows differently. The outside world moves with urgency. Seasons passing, storms rising, wars fought and forgotten. But here, time is measured by the breath of the flame, by the cycle of oil poured, by the devotion of hands keeping the light alive. Generations have passed, yet the fire remains, as steady as the heartbeat of the earth itself. The women who served here lived lives of quiet purpose. They were daughters, sisters, friends, yet once chosen, their lives became dedicated to the goddess. They learned the discipline of silence. They learned the patience of watching a flame without distraction. And in that stillness, they learned to hear what others could not, the voice of the divine in the soft crackle of fire. Their devotion was not only for themselves. Travelers would come to the temple, weary from long roads, carrying burdens in their hearts. They would kneel before the fire and let its glow soothe them. Some prayed aloud, their words trembling. Others closed their eyes and simply sat in its presence, allowing the flame to wash over them, to remind them of warmth when their lives felt cold. The priestesses, with gentle eyes, would add oil to the lamps of the visitors, sending them away with borrowed light. A flame carried into the darkness beyond the temple walls. In this way, the eternal fire was never confined. It spread, lamp by lamp, hand by hand, a quiet blessing carried into the world. Imagine the sound of those flames, soft, almost inaudible, yet steady, a lullaby of fire. Not fierce, not consuming, but tender and calm. Each flicker whispers of safety. Each glow promises continuity. The women who tended the fire understood something beyond words. That light, when kept with love, is stronger than darkness. That devotion, when lived quietly, shapes the soul. That even the smallest flame, when guarded with patience, becomes eternal. Now picture yourself seated near that flame. The floor is cool stone beneath you. The air carries the scent of olive oil, smoke, and jasmine flowers. The silence feels soft, wrapping around you like a cloak. The light warms your face as though the goddess herself leans close to offer comfort. You breathe slowly, in rhythm with the flicker of fire. And with each breath, the world outside grows more distant. The fire becomes a mirror. In it, you see your own heart glowing. Its spark, sometimes hidden, sometimes dim, yet never gone. You see the lives of those who came before you, carrying their own lamps of hope, passing them on, just as these priestesses passed on the eternal flame. The fire shows you that you are part of that same thread, a continuation of light, never truly ending. The night deepens. The stars slowly appear again, breaking through the clouds above the temple roof. Their light is distant, yet they too burn eternally, like the flame before you. As above, so below. The stars in the sky, the flame in the temple, and the spark in your heart, all are reflections of one another. The priestesses move softly through the hall. Their shadows drift across the walls like flowing water. One pours oil into the flame, bowing her head. Another sprinkles petals around the altar, their fragrance rising like prayer. None speak, for nothing needs to be spoken. The silence itself is devotion. The fire glows brighter as though answering their care, and in that glow there is a sense of eternity. Not eternity as endless time, but eternity as presence, a moment that feels whole, complete, without need for more. This is the eternity the women tended, not a flame against darkness, but a flame that reminded every soul who saw it. You are held, you are remembered, you are part of something endless. The night slowly yields to dawn. A faint blue light touches the edge of the temple doors. Birds stir, their calls gentle, as if joining the devotion. Yet the flame remains unchanged. It has survived another night, as it has countless nights before. A new day begins, but the light continues, steady and faithful, and so the cycle will go on. Women will come, women will go, generations will rise and fall, yet the flame will remain, tended with love. The goddess, unseen yet felt, will dwell in its glow, and all who enter the temple will feel her presence as surely as the warmth of fire on their skin. Now, imagine that flame slowly becoming one with your breath. Each inhale carries its glow deeper into your heart. Each exhale sends its warmth through your body, softening, calming, soothing. The temple grows quiet, yet the flame remains, a gentle guardian within you. Rest in its glow. Let the silence be your blanket. Let the light cradle you as though it has known you forever. You are safe here. You are held in the warmth of the eternal flame. Now drift onward as the stars fade back into the sky, as the fire hums its ancient song. Rest as the temple closes its eyes and the flame watches over your dreams. The night sky stretches wide, dark, endless, yet gentle. Above, the moon glows with silver calm, wrapped in soft veils of drifting cloud. Its light is cool, soothing, falling quietly upon mountains, rivers, and sleeping villages. The world below breathes in rhythm with the moon above. In ancient times, the moon was more than a light in the sky. It was a guide. It was a teacher. It was a goddess whose face shifted, yet never disappeared. People lifted their eyes to her glow and saw not only stone and shadow, but a reflection of their own lives. The women who honored her were called Daughters of the Moon. They gathered in circles under starlight, their voices hushed, their spirits lifted. They believed the moon carried secrets, secrets of time, of birth, of dreams. Her phases were not only changes in the sky, but changes in the body, the earth, and the soul. The new moon was quiet, a soft emptiness. It was the time of rest, of planting seeds, of whispering wishes into the dark. The crescent moon was like a cradle, holding beginnings with tender care. The full moon shone with power, round and bright, like the fullness of life itself. And then, the waning moon carried lessons of release, reminding all things to let go, to make space for what would return. The daughters of the moon moved with these rhythms. They saw themselves as mirrors of her light. Their lives flowed in cycles, just as the tides of the sea followed her pull. Their bodies, their dreams, their hearts, all bound to her gentle command. Imagine them now, a circle of women seated beneath the night sky. They wear robes of simple cloth, woven in pale colors that shimmer faintly in the moonlight. Their hair catches the silver glow, and their faces shine like calm waters. Around them, torches burn low, not to outshine the moon, but to honor her light. They sing softly, their voices rising and falling like the waves she governs. Each tone is a thread, weaving with the others, creating a tapestry of sound that floats upward. The night listens, the stars lean close, and the moon, silent and steady, receives their song. In their songs they tell stories of a goddess who walked across the sky carrying a silver lamp, stories of her watching over mothers, blessing the waters, guarding the dreams of children, stories of her being hunted by shadows, yet always returning, always shining again. The daughters of the moon did not fear the darkness between her phases. They understood it as a pause, a time of silence before renewal. Just as a seed rests in soil before sprouting, the moon rests in shadow before glowing once more. And so, in times of waiting, they trusted her return. They trusted the rhythm of her promise. The moon was also the keeper of dreams. When eyes closed, her silver light was said to guide the soul across quiet rivers, into lands of visions and messages. Those who honored her learned to listen to dreams, to find symbols hidden in their sleep, to let the night speak softly to the heart. One daughter of the moon may have dreamed of flowing water, another of a bird taking flight, another of a flame burning without smoke. Each dream was seen as a thread in the larger pattern, woven together under the moon's gentle gaze. Imagine lying beneath that moon now, the ground cool and steady beneath you, the air touched by night flowers and distant streams, the sky above, vast and calm, the moon glowing as though watching only you. Its light falls across your skin like a blessing, soft and timeless. The daughters of the moon believed that no one was ever alone under her glow. Wherever a person walked, no matter how far from home, the moon followed. Her light touched mountains, deserts, and seas alike. Her face was the same for all who looked up. She was unity, a silent companion to every traveler. Her power touched not only people, but the world itself. The tides of oceans moved to her rhythm. Seeds sprouted and rivers swelled under her cycles. Farmers looked to her light to know when to plant and when to harvest. She was the silent clock of the earth, turning not with gears or numbers, but with light and shadow. And in this quiet devotion, the daughters of the moon found peace. Their lives, like hers, were not straight lines, but circles. They learned patience in her slow rise, acceptance in her gentle fade. They learned that beauty is not constant brightness, but the rhythm of change. Each phase was sacred. Each shadow was as holy as each glow. The moon also taught them of reflection. She does not shine by her own fire. She reflects the sun, carrying borrowed light into the night. And in this the daughters of the moon saw themselves, not blazing alone, but carrying light from the divine, passing it gently into the world around them. The stories tell of sacred nights when the full moon rose high, bright as a lantern in the sky. The daughters gathered in fields or by rivers, their arms lifted, their chants soft and steady. They moved in circles, their feet brushing grass, their robes flowing like water. Each step was a prayer, each turn was an offering, and above them the moon shone brighter as though joining in their dance. Even now you may feel that rhythm, a slow circle, a gentle step, the rise and fall of breath like the rise and fall of the tide. You too are moving with the moon, even in stillness. Your heart beats in cycles. Your breath flows in and out. Your life, like hers, is a circle without end. The daughters of the moon knew that to live by her rhythm was to live in harmony, not rushing forward, not clinging to what passed, but flowing gently like water following its tide. They found comfort in knowing that after darkness, light always returned. After fullness, release always came. Nothing was permanent, yet nothing was lost. And so their devotion was not one of fear, but of trust. They trusted the moon to rise. They trusted the cycles of the earth. They trusted that what was meant to return would return, and what was meant to fade would fade gently. Their trust became a form of peace, as soft and steady as moonlight itself. The night deepens now. The circle of women sits in silence, their chants fading, their eyes lifted to the sky. The moon, full and luminous, rests above them like a guardian. The air is calm, the earth quiet, the world bathed in silver. It feels eternal, yet it is only a moment, one of many, part of the endless turning of time. Close your eyes within this scene. Let the moonlight spill softly across your thoughts. Feel its rhythm in your breath, its glow in your heart. You are also a child of the moon, watched over by her silver gaze, carried gently in her cycle. Now the women lower their heads, their songs fading into whispers. The torches burn low. The air cools with the coming of dawn, yet the moon lingers, holding her light until the first touch of sun. Her presence, her blessing, her cycle all remain quiet and eternal. And so the daughters of the moon drift into silence. Their circle closes, but their devotion continues. The moon carries them as she carries you, through shadow and light, through ebb and flow. Always steady, always returning. Rest now beneath her glow. Let her light cradle you, soft and silver. Let her rhythm rock you into calm. For the moon is patient, and she will remain, watching as you drift into dreams. Let us drift onward, as the stars fade behind her glow, as her cycle turns with gentle grace. Now rest, as the moon watches over your sleep. The evening has fallen. The sky, once glowing with fading gold, now rests in shades of deep indigo. The last rays of sun slip quietly beyond the horizon, leaving only a silver hush upon the land. In this twilight, a temple stands carved into the stone of a hillside. Its doorway opens not with trumpets, nor with song, but with silence. Within its walls, silence is sacred. Every step echoes softly, then fades into nothing. Every breath feels like prayer. The air carries no sound of bells, no murmur of chanting, only stillness. Here, silence itself is worshipped, as though it were the purest language of the divine. The priestesses of this temple were known as the keepers of quiet. They lived not in noise, but in the soft weight of stillness. Their voices were rarely heard. Their lives were measured not in words spoken, but in silence guarded. To them, the world beyond sound was a world of truth, a place where the soul could listen without distraction. Imagine them now, moving through the hallways. Their robes trail lightly across the stone floor, no louder than a breath. Their hair is veiled in linen, their faces calm as still water. They carry lamps in their hands, the flames small and steady, lighting their way without breaking the silence. The light flickers against the walls, illuminating carved symbols of stars, rivers, and birds in flight. Each priestess carries within her the discipline of silence. She wakes with the first light of dawn, yet she speaks no word. She tends the altars, arranging flowers, pouring oil, lighting incense. She walks among the courtyards, her steps measured, her mind still. Silence is her prayer. Silence is her gift. The people who visited this temple did not come to hear sermons or chants. They came to enter the hush, to sit upon the cool stone floors, to let their worries dissolve into stillness, for it was believed that in silence the divine voice could be heard, not with ears but with the soul. The priestesses understood this deeply. They knew that words, while useful, often tangled the truth. Silence was clearer. Silence was gentler. Silence was the space where wisdom breathed. And so they lived as guardians of that space, protecting it like a flame against the winds of the world. Picture the temple chamber now. A tall hall, its ceiling arching upward like the inside of a great shell. At the center, a pool of still water reflects the moonlight that enters through a hidden opening above. The water lies undisturbed, a mirror of sky and stone. The priestesses kneel beside it, their eyes closed, their breaths slow. They are listening, not to sound, but to the quiet that surrounds sound. Sometimes a visitor would come burdened with grief, perhaps the loss of a loved one, or the weight of a troubled heart. They would be welcomed not with words, but with silence. A priestess would guide them to the pool, her presence calm, her steps gentle. There, in the hush of the temple, the visitor would sit, and slowly the stillness would begin to heal. The water of the pool was believed to carry the secrets of silence. When one gazed into its surface, they saw not only their reflection, but the reflection of peace itself. The ripples of thought quieted, the noise of the mind softened, until all that remained was stillness. In that stillness, many found the comfort they sought, the comfort of being held by something larger than words. The priestesses knew that silence was not emptiness. It was fullness. It was the space where the divine dwelled, where the heart could finally rest. They often sat for hours without speaking, their hands folded, their eyes lowered. Their devotion was not seen in sound, but in presence, a presence that reminded all who entered the temple, you are not alone in the quiet. Imagine the hush now, filling the space around you. The silence is not heavy. It is soft, like a blanket of night. It holds you gently, without pressure, without demand. Every breath you take melts into this quiet. Every thought begins to slow, like ripples settling on still water. Legend spoke of how silence revealed truths. When one rested in the temple long enough, it was said the goddess of silence would speak, not with words, but with knowing. Her voice was felt, not heard. It was the warmth in the chest, the calm in the mind, the clarity that comes like dawn after darkness. The priestesses lived to serve this goddess, invisible yet everywhere. The people trusted them, for they were women of patience. They never rushed. They never scolded. They lived as reflections of the quiet they guarded. Some said that even their eyes spoke silence, deep, clear, and steady, like the surface of the temple's sacred pool. At night, the temple glowed with faint lamplight. The flames shimmered against the walls, painting shadows that swayed like dancers. Yet no sound disturbed the air. Only the faint hum of crickets beyond the stone. Only the soft breath of the priestesses in their meditations. It was as though the temple itself was asleep, dreaming in silence. Imagine yourself within it. You sit upon the stone floor, the coolness rising into your skin. The quiet wraps around you, steady and calm. The pool reflects the moonlight, silver and still. The priestesses kneel nearby, their faces serene, their presence reassuring. And in this space your own breath slows, your own heart eases. Silence begins to speak to you, not with sound, but with stillness. It tells you that you are safe. It tells you that you are whole. It tells you that you are part of something vast, something eternal. The quiet becomes a gentle language, understood not by the mind, but by the soul. As time drifts, the night deepens. The stars above turn slowly, their light faint through the temple's opening. The pool remains calm, the priestesses remain still, and you remain held in the embrace of silence. The devotion of these women continues across centuries. Though kingdoms rise and fall, though voices of the world grow loud and fade again, the silence of the temple endures. It waits patiently for all who seek it, for silence cannot be broken. It always returns as steady as the night, as constant as the stars. Now the temple grows darker. The lamps burn lower. The priestesses close their eyes, folding into rest. The hush grows deeper, a silence within silence, like a dream within a dream. It is here in this quiet that sleep begins to bloom. Rest now in that hush. Let the silence cradle you, like water holding a floating leaf. Let your breath soften like shadows fading at dawn. The priestesses remain near, guarding the quiet, watching over the stillness of your rest. Let us drift onward. As the temple closes its eyes, as silence becomes the only sound, now rest as the stars return to watch over your dreams. Night has deepened. The stars lean closer, their silver light touching the quiet earth. The air carries the hush of cool winds, as though the world is pausing to breathe. Far in the distance, the sound of water drifts. A slow river, winding through the dark. It calls softly, like a lullaby sung to the land. Water has always been a mother, flowing, cradling, nourishing. From ancient times, people believed rivers and springs were guarded by divine women, mothers of sacred waters. To them, every stream carried more than water, and it carried blessing, healing, and life. To drink from it was to touch the edge of divinity. To bathe in it was to be renewed, body and soul. Imagine a spring at dawn. The light of the sun spills gently across the surface, turning it gold. Mist rises in soft ribbons, floating like veils of silk. Beside the spring, women once stood in quiet reverence. They laid garlands of flowers upon the waters, their petals drifting slowly, carried by the current. They whispered prayers not with words, but with offerings of silence and presence. These women were called the mothers of water. Some were priestesses who kept the springs pure. Some were goddesses whose forms were unseen, yet whose presence was felt in every ripple. To the people, they were guardians of fertility, of health, of calm. Where there was water, there was life. Where the mothers of water were honored, the land itself was said to bloom. Picture a river that winds through a valley. Its banks are lined with reeds that bend gently in the wind. The water shines like glass beneath the moonlight. It carries not only fish and silt, but stories, the memory of rains, the touch of mountains, the breath of clouds. The mothers of sacred waters were believed to guide this endless journey, carrying blessings from the unseen world into the living one. In ancient villages, people gathered near rivers not only to drink but to pray. They left bowls of milk, baskets of grain, jars of honey. These were gifts to the mothers of water, to ask for rain, to ask for health, to ask for gentle dreams and peaceful nights. Every drop of water was a reminder of their kindness. Some stories told of women who lived by sacred wells. They were healers, gentle and quiet, pouring water into cups for the weary traveler. It was said that to drink from their hands was to taste hope. To rest near their springs was to find peace. These women, though mortal, were seen as reflections of the Divine Mothers themselves. Their touch carried the softness of rivers, their voices the calm of flowing streams. Listen now to the rhythm of the water. It moves without hurry. It bends around stones. It carries leaves and branches without resistance. The Mothers of Sacred Waters taught through this flowing, showing that life, like a river, must move gently, bending where it must, yet always finding its way to the sea. The sea, too, was seen as a great mother. Her waves cradled the world in her arms. Though vast and deep, she was not feared but revered. She was the source, the endless womb from which all life once rose. When the rivers reached her, it was like children returning to their mother's embrace. The priestesses at coastal temples sang not to be heard above the waves, but to blend with them, letting their voices dissolve into the rhythm of the tide. Imagine yourself by such a shore. The sand is cool beneath your feet. The waves lap softly, pulling back, returning, pulling back, returning. The horizon stretches endlessly where the sky meets the water in silver quiet. In this place, the Mothers of Water are everywhere, in the salt air, in the rolling surf, in the still pools that collect between the rocks. They soothe the restless heart, reminding it to flow, to breathe, to return. Across cultures, their names were many. Some called them nymphs, daughters of rivers. Some called them goddesses, keepers of wells. Others knew them as spirits, unseen yet always near. But their essence was the same, tender guardians of the waters that give life. To honor them was to honor life itself. At night, rituals were often held by the riverbanks. Torches glowed like fireflies, their reflections shimmering across the water's skin. Women sang softly, their voices carrying like ripples, never breaking the stillness of night. They dipped their hands into the water, then lifted them toward the sky, letting droplets fall like blessings back into the current. Each gesture was a prayer, simple, gentle, trusting. The Mothers of Sacred Waters were not only guardians of the body, but of the spirit. They were called upon when the soul was weary. To sit beside a spring, to listen to its endless song, was believed to calm sorrow, to soften grief, to bring back balance. For water knows how to heal. It washes away dust. It quenches thirst. It cools the fevered skin. And in the same way, the Mothers washed away worry, quenched despair, cooled the fire of unrest. Imagine a weary traveler now, sitting by a fountain carved into stone. The water trickles gently, catching the moonlight as it falls. The traveler cups their hands, drinks slowly, then rests. Around them the night is still. Though no priestess is in sight, the presence of the Mothers can be felt in the very rhythm of the flowing water. It is as though the fountain itself is whispering, "You are safe, you are renewed, you are held." The river becomes a lullaby, steady and soft. The spring becomes a cradle, rocking gently. The sea becomes a vast dream, endless and calm. The Mothers of Sacred Waters hold you within all of these, reminding you that just as the rivers flow, your breath too flows, steady and gentle, carrying you toward peace. As the night deepens, the stars mirror themselves upon the river's face. The current carries their light, scattering it into ripples. It is as if heaven itself has come down to rest upon the waters. The priestesses once said that the stars were seeds of the divine, planted into the earth by rivers, carried by currents, nurtured by springs. In their silence, the waters sing of eternity. Now picture yourself resting by such a stream. The grass is soft beneath you. The air is cool. The steady sound of flowing water rocks your heart into calmness. The Mothers of Sacred Waters are near, their presence like the warmth of a hand upon your shoulder, like the hush of a lullaby without words. They watch over you, as they have watched over countless lives across endless years. And so, the rivers flow on. The springs keep bubbling. The sea keeps breathing in and out. The Mothers remain eternal, guardians of all that is gentle, all that is nourishing, all that soothes the soul. Rest now in their embrace. Let your heart drift with the river. Let your breath rise and fall like the tide. The Mothers of Sacred Waters will carry you gently, holding you as you sink into sleep. Let us drift onward. As the rivers return to the sea, as the springs rise to the surface, as the mothers of water keep watch in silence. Now rest, as the stars return to guide your dreams. The night opens wide. A velvet sky stretches above, woven with quiet light. The air is cool, carrying the faintest scent of earth and distant rain. Around you, the world has fallen still, as if waiting, only the stars. For countless ages, people lifted their eyes to these same stars. They saw not only points of light, but patterns, stories, guardians. Women gathered in circles beneath the heavens, their hands joined, their voices hushed. They knew that the sky was not empty. It was alive with memory. Alive with mothers and daughters woven into constellations. Imagine such a circle, a ring of figures draped in simple cloth, their faces touched by moonlight. At the center, a small fire glows, its smoke rising to mingle with the night air. Around them, the great dome of sky turns slowly, like a wheel of eternity. Each star above is a marker, a lantern, a sign of divine presence. And as the women gaze upward, they feel the heavens gazing back. The ancients believed that constellations were not just lights, but stories. The archer, the mother bear, the sisters who dance forever. Each held the memory of a woman who once walked, or a goddess who once ruled. To look upon them was to remember. To gather beneath them was to honor. In the silence of the night, the circle of women begins to move. Their steps are slow, their rhythm steady. They turn together, like planets in orbit, like rivers bending toward the sea. Above them, the stars shine in mirrored circles, great and small. The dance below echoes the dance above, as though earth and sky are joined in one soft breath. The mother bear, known in many lands, was one of the great guardians of the sky. She watches with her cubs, bright and steady, never sinking, never fading. To the people, she was a symbol of protection, of endurance, of love that never lets go. As women lifted their arms to her, they felt her strength fill them, like fire filling a lamp. She was mother to the lost, guide to the wandering, keeper of the eternal north. And then there were the sisters, a cluster of stars so close, they seemed to shimmer as one. They were daughters of the heavens, always together, never apart. Their presence reminded the people of unity, of bonds that endure beyond time. Stories told how they danced in joy, weaving light across the sky. Even now, their shimmer feels like laughter, soft and eternal, carried on the night wind. In many places, women gathered beneath these sisters. They sang of cycles of birth and return, of harvests rising and falling. Their circle mirrored the circle of stars, each step echoing the endless return of seasons. As they moved, they felt themselves part of a greater rhythm, not separate from the heavens, but woven into them. The archer, too, watched from the sky. She was the huntress, strong and silent, her bow drawn toward unseen horizons. For some, she was a goddess who walked forests at night, her arrows guiding the lost. For others, she was the embodiment of courage, of freedom, of untamed spirit. Her stars formed a shape of strength, reminding all who looked upon her that the heavens held guardians as fierce as they were gentle. The fire at the circle's center flickers, casting shadows across the ground. Yet above, the stars do not waver. They burn with patience, with quiet devotion, steady as the heartbeat of eternity. The women lift their faces, eyes reflecting light from 1,000,000 years away. They know the stars are older than temples, older than songs, older even than memory. And yet they feel as close as breath. In many lands, constellations were seen as mothers watching their children, some shown as guides for sailors, others as markers for farmers, telling them when to plant, when to harvest. In every role, the stars cared for life upon the earth, whispering their wisdom in silent radiance. Imagine lying upon the ground, the cool grass beneath you. Your body grows heavy, yet your gaze is drawn upward. The night sky stretches vast, endless, without edge. And yet, within its vastness, patterns emerge. A circle here, a line there, a cluster of light trembling like a breath. The heavens arrange themselves into meaning, like a dream taking shape. The women who gathered beneath the stars understood this dream. They saw the constellations not as distant fire, but as reflections of themselves. Mothers, daughters, protectors, sisters. Each star was a mirror, each story a reminder, each night an invitation to return to the circle of belonging. Some traditions told of a great spinning wheel in the heavens. It turned slowly, endlessly, carrying the stars across the night. To them, this was the loom of the divine, and upon this loom, the threads of fate were woven. Each constellation was a stitch in the great tapestry, each life a thread. The women in their circle felt themselves as part of this weaving, their own steps part of the fabric of eternity. The fire burns low. Its glow softens, as if bowing to the greater fire of the stars. The women sit now in silence, their hands resting, their breath slowing. Around them, the circle remains unbroken. Above them, the sky remains full. It is as if heaven and earth are joined in quiet conversation. The stars, they believed, were not only for guiding, but for comforting. In sorrow, one could look up and remember that the heavens held memory. Loved ones who had passed were thought to live among the constellations. Their light continued, even when their voices had gone. To gaze upon the stars was to feel close to them again, safe beneath their eternal watch. The circle of women closes their eyes. The night breathes around them. The stars continue to shine. They need no words, no prayers spoken aloud. The silence itself is prayer enough. The stillness itself is offering enough. The heavens need only their presence, their trust, their quiet devotion. As the hours pass, the constellations drift. The archer tilts, the sisters slide west. The mother bear continues her endless path around the north. And with each movement, the women know they are held within the same rhythm. Their lives are brief, but their circle is eternal. Their breath is fleeting, but the stars are steady. In this balance, peace is found. Now imagine yourself within this circle. You rest beneath the open sky. The grass cradles you. The fire warms you. The stars watch you. You are part of the circle, though you make no movement, though you utter no sound. The constellations above are your guardians. The heavens are your blanket. The circle of stars has opened, and you are within it. The night grows deeper. The fire dwindles to embers. But the stars remain, glowing patiently, whispering their soft light. They tell you of mothers who guard, of daughters who dance, of sisters who shine together. They remind you that you too are a part of the endless story written upon the sky. Rest now. Breathe with the rhythm of the stars. Let their ancient light carry you. Let their stories cradle you. Let the circle hold you until sleep comes gently. And as your eyes grow heavy, know this: the stars will not fade. They will remain, keeping their watch, guiding your dreams. Let us drift onward, into the silence of the night, into the circle of stars, where heaven leans close and sleep gathers softly, like constellations in your soul. The night is quiet. A silver moon rests above the world. Shadows of ancient temples stretch across soft earth. The air is still, yet alive, as if holding its breath. In this sacred calm, the sound of a whisper begins. It is not a voice of one person. It is not loud nor sharp. It is like the hush of wind moving through stone columns. It is like water slipping between smooth rocks. The whisper belongs to the oracles, women who listened deeply and spoke words as gentle as falling leaves. The temples they lived in were old, built of marble, of clay, of carved wood. They were high upon hills, or hidden deep in caves where the earth hummed. Torches burned softly along their walls. Pools of still water reflected the flame. Those who entered came with bowed heads, hearts filled with questions, steps slowed by wonder. They did not rush, for within these sacred halls time moved differently. Every stone carried memory. Every echo held a breath of prayers spoken across centuries. The oracle herself sat in silence, her eyes half closed, her lips quiet, her hands resting as still as resting birds. Some said she listened to the earth's deep core. Some said she listened to the sky. Others believed the gods leaned close to her ear. Yet always, her words fell like soft rain, never forced, never hurried. She did not shout or command. Her speech was like a river at dawn, flowing slow and steady, guiding the listener into calm waters. A seeker would kneel before her, perhaps a farmer with worries about his land, perhaps a sailor who feared the coming seas, perhaps a king heavy with choices. All entered with the same hope, to hear the soft thread of wisdom woven through her whisper. And when the oracle spoke, it was never with certainty. She did not carve the future into stone. She gave images, gentle riddles, visions shaped in the language of dreams. She might say, "Follow the bird that rises at dawn," or "The path is clear when the storm has passed." Her words were like seeds. They grew only when planted in the heart. Candles flickered as she spoke. The air shifted. Those listening felt the world grow softer, as if the walls themselves leaned in. Her voice was neither loud nor strong, yet it carried. It reached not only ears, but the space beneath the ribs, the quiet chamber of the soul. Many left the temple not with answers, but with peace. The whisper stayed with them. It returned in dreams. It guided their steps when the road ahead was uncertain. Some say the oracle's gift came from fire. They believed she breathed sacred smoke, and in its veil she saw visions. Some say her wisdom came from water, that she drank from springs hidden deep in the earth, where the voice of the divine rippled upward. Others said it was the wind moving through her lungs that carried the message of the unseen. Whatever the source, her gift was never hers alone. It belonged to the mystery that surrounded her. She was but the vessel. Her whisper was the bridge. In one temple, built high upon a cliff where waves crashed below, the oracle spoke only at twilight. As the horizon glowed gold and purple, she stepped into the open air. The sea roared, yet her voice, soft as it was, rose above the tide. Those who gathered heard words that mingled with salt wind and seabird cries. The ocean carried her whisper outward, as though the whole world were listening. In another temple, hidden in the belly of a mountain, her chamber was lit by a single flame. The walls dripped with slow water, and the air smelled of earth. Here, silence was deep. Every word she spoke lingered. It hung in the air like mist. Those who left carried the silence with them, a silence that made their thoughts clearer, their dreams softer. Over time, the people began to see the oracle not only as a guide of the future, but as a mirror of the soul. When they listened, they often discovered that the whisper they heard was already within them. Her voice awakened the voice inside. Her silence taught them how to listen to their own silence. The circle of priestesses around her guarded these moments with care. They moved like shadows, tending the fires, pouring water into clay bowls, carving symbols into wood and stone. They did not speak loudly, but every gesture carried meaning. Their presence made the halls safe. Their devotion made the air sacred, and so the oracle was never alone. Her whisper flowed within a greater song. The breath of the temple, the hum of the earth, the quiet patience of the stars above. Legends grew. Stories spread of the times her whisper changed the course of a kingdom. But even those stories were told in hushed tones, for they were less about power and more about the mystery of listening. What remained through all generations was not the detail of her words, but the memory of her softness. People remembered the way the halls glowed, the way torches flickered against stone, the way her lips barely moved, yet her voice reached them like wind through leaves. They remembered the peace that settled on their shoulders like a warm cloak at night. Now, let the image settle in your mind. A temple in twilight. The soft scent of burning oil. The cool touch of stone beneath your feet. The oracle's whisper moving gently, like smoke through air, like a feather drifting downward. It does not demand. It does not press. It simply flows. You feel it touch you, not as command, but as comfort. It tells you without words that the world is wide, yet you are held within it. That the path may twist, yet you will walk it in peace. That the night may deepen, yet the stars will always rise. And so the whisper remains, not bound to one place, not tied to one temple. It moves through time, through memory, through dream. It becomes part of the wind you hear when night is still. It becomes part of the hush inside you as you close your eyes. The oracle's whisper is not gone. It is here, settling upon you like soft cloth, like cool water, like the gentlest of hands. Rest now in this image. Let the temple fade into the distance. Let the torches dim, the stones soften, the sea grow quiet. The whisper continues, but it no longer speaks in words. It hums in the rhythm of your breath. It drifts in the slow turning of the stars. Let it guide you inward to a silence that is deep, a silence that is safe. Here you are held, here you are watched, here you are free to sleep. The oracle has spoken. The whisper remains. And now, as night folds its wings around you, let us drift onward until the stars return. The night has deepened. The stars glow with steady patience. A thin mist lies low upon the earth, soft as a blanket, gathering over hidden valleys and stone paths. The air is neither cold nor warm. It is the gentle breath between seasons, a space where silence waits. It is in such hours that ancient doors open, not doors of wood or iron, but doors woven of shadow and flame, doors that appear only to those who come with quiet hearts. These were the doors of the mysteries, sacred rites that belonged to the goddesses of old, guarded with care, spoken of only in whispers. Those who sought the mysteries did not rush. They walked by torchlight, their footsteps muffled on soft earth. The path wound through groves of olive and laurel. It moved past wells where water glimmered, past altars dusted with petals and herbs. Every turn seemed to lead deeper into a silence that was alive. At last, a veil would appear. Sometimes it was a curtain of woven cloth, painted with stars, hung across the doorway of a hidden chamber. Sometimes it was not seen at all, but felt. A shift in the air, a weight upon the chest, a soft trembling in the heart. This veil was not meant to frighten. It was not a barrier to keep one away. It was an invitation. It said, "Step gently, for what you enter is sacred." Inside, the air was rich with incense. The smoke curled upward, like spirits rising to the heavens. Candles burned in careful circles. Their flames bent and swayed, as if they too were part of the rite. Women gathered in silence. Their robes flowed like water. Their faces shone in the soft light. Some carried bowls of milk and honey. Some held branches of myrtle and palm. Some moved their hands in gestures that spoke without words. At the center stood the goddess in her symbol, perhaps a statue carved of marble, her eyes gazing far beyond the chamber. Perhaps a simple stone, smooth and shining, set upon a woven cloth. Perhaps only a flame rising upward in endless dance. She was present in all forms, for the mysteries were hers alone. They belonged to the mother who gave life, to the daughter who descended into shadow, to the guardian who held the world in balance. The rites were secret, but their heart was gentle. They were not made to instill fear, but to awaken wonder. They spoke not of power, but of surrender. Surrender to the cycles of earth, to the turning of night and day, to the flow of death and birth, to the hidden thread of eternity. Those who entered the mysteries learned not through speeches, but through symbols. A loaf of bread was broken, and its fragrance filled the air. A torch was lifted, and shadows drew back to reveal the path. A bowl of water was poured upon the ground, and its trickle sounded like music. Each act was simple, yet it carried a depth too vast for words. It told of the soil that nourishes, of the seed that falls, of the sprout that rises again. It told of darkness as a womb, not an end. It told of light as a gift, not a prize. The goddess herself was the veil. She was the mystery both hidden and revealed. Her presence was felt in the stillness, in the echo of drums, in the steady rhythm of breathing. To know her was not to see her face, but to sense her hand upon the world. For some, the mysteries were like sleep. They entered the chamber heavy with thought and left as if awakened from a dream, their hearts lighter, their minds at rest. For others, the mysteries were like birth. They stepped through the veil uncertain and returned with new sight, as though a lamp had been lit within them. And for all, the mysteries became memory. A secret flame carried home, a whisper of wonder that returned in quiet hours. The veil itself was never torn away. It remained soft and shimmering, always between the seeker and the full vision. For mystery was not to be solved, it was to be lived. Like the stars above, it shone brightest when gazed at from afar. Like the sea, it gave its gifts only to those who entered gently. Legends tell of the Eleusinian fields, where torches burned through the night, where initiates walked in solemn processions, following the rhythm of drums, listening to chants that rose like waves. They say Demeter, the mother, was honored there, and Persephone, her daughter, who returned from shadow each spring. The people did not watch as strangers. They became part of the story. In the descent of the daughter, they felt their own losses. In her return, they felt their own renewal. The goddess was not far away. She was within the soil, within the grain, within their very breath. Another tale speaks of Isis in the hidden chambers of Egypt. Her mysteries were wrapped in linen like the bodies of the departed, tended with care and love. Her voice was heard in chants that echoed through stone. Her presence was seen in the rising Nile, filling the land with life. Those who walked through her rites felt the world not as matter, but as spirit, woven into all things. Always the mysteries were cloaked. Always they asked for trust. Always they carried the soul from the outer world of noise to the inner world of silence. The veil did not close the way. It opened it. It reminded each seeker that some truths are too vast for sight, yet still they may be touched. That some songs cannot be heard by the ear, yet still they may be felt in the heart. Now imagine the veil before you. It shimmers like silver in moonlight. It breathes like fabric moved by soft wind. You do not push it aside. You simply step closer. You feel its coolness brush your skin. You sense the quiet promise it carries, that what lies beyond is not danger, but wonder. And so, you rest at its edge. You do not need to go further tonight. The veil itself is enough. Its mystery is a gift. Its presence is peace. Let your breath grow slow. Let the torches fade. Let the mist rise once more around the temple. The night is deep, but the stars remain. The veil has closed gently, yet its memory lingers. You carry it now. This soft reminder of the sacred hiddenness. This gentle truth that mystery is not to be feared, but to be held like a dream, like a star in the palm. Now rest, as the veil drifts in silence. Rest as the goddess watches. Rest as the night holds you safe. Let us drift onward, into the deeper dark, where even mystery sleeps. The night has settled. A silver moon rests high above, casting its glow across stone courtyards and temple walls. The air is soft with the scent of flowers, jasmine, and myrrh, carried on the breeze. Torches burn low, their flames bending like reeds, their light flickering in rhythms of shadow and gold. It is here, in this stillness, that a movement begins. Not sudden, not loud, but as gentle as the first ripple on a quiet pool. A hand lifts, a foot steps, and the sacred dance awakens. Long ago, in many lands, people believed the body could pray as deeply as the voice, that to move with grace was to speak to the gods without words. Every gesture was a syllable, every step a verse. The dancers became living prayers, offering not sound, but silence shaped into motion. Imagine the circle of women beneath the moon. Their robes flow like water. Their hair glimmers in the firelight. They sway slowly, their feet tracing patterns in the dust. The ground remembers their steps. The stars above echo their rhythm. Each movement is not for display, but for devotion, a soft reaching, a tender surrender. In the temples of ancient Egypt, priestesses of Hathor lifted their arms like wings. They swayed side to side, mimicking the gentle sway of papyrus reeds by the Nile. The sistrum, a sacred rattle, shimmered in their hands, its sound like wind moving through silver bells. The goddess was believed to dwell in the dance, to smile upon those who moved with beauty and calm. Far away in Greece, the followers of Artemis circled through groves of pine and oak. Their steps were light, their voices hushed. Sometimes they leapt, like deer startled by dawn. Other times they glided, as though carried by invisible streams. To dance was to honor the cycles of the moon, to mirror the huntress who roamed the forests, swift and free. In India, sacred dancers once moved before temple shrines. Their hands told stories, fingers unfolding like lotus petals, palms turning like wheels of time. Their eyes followed the motions, their bodies swayed with the rhythm of hidden drums. Every movement was a thread in a tapestry of devotion. The divine was not far, but near, present in the dance, in the stillness between each step. Across the world, the stories were different, yet the truth was the same. The dance was always more than motion. It was a bridge. It carried the heart closer to the unseen. It wove earth and sky together. It gave shape to prayer without a single word spoken. The dance was not hurried. It was not wild. It was as slow as a tide returning to shore, as steady as breath flowing in and out. One dancer bowed, another lifted her arms to the heavens, another turned her face toward the ground. Together they became the seasons. They became night and day. They became the circle of life itself. The onlookers did not cheer. They did not interrupt. They watched in reverent silence, their own breathing falling in time with the steps. For a moment all hearts beat as one. The dance was not a performance. It was a prayer shared by all. Some say the earth itself danced with them, that the grass leaned gently, that the flames flickered in harmony, that the stars seemed to shift above. For in the quiet of devotion, everything listened, everything leaned closer, everything became part of the offering. Imagine now that you too are near. You stand at the edge of the circle. The torches glow softly, casting halos of gold upon the ground. The sound of bare feet brushing the earth is like a lullaby. The sway of robes is like the hush of waves. You breathe with the rhythm. You drift with the motion. And slowly, you feel the dance entering you, as if your own spirit begins to sway. The sacred dance carried lessons. It taught that stillness and movement are not apart, that silence can flow, that breath itself is a dance rising and falling, like a tide, like the wings of a bird, like the pulse of the world. It taught that devotion does not always need words. Sometimes it is enough to move slowly, to bow gently, to open the hands as if offering the heart. Sometimes prayer is no more than swaying, as leaves sway in the wind. There were times when the dancers moved in circles, their hands linked, their bodies turning slowly under the stars. The circle had no beginning, no end. It echoed the sun, the moon, the wheel of seasons. It whispered that all things return, that all life moves in cycles. Birth to death, death to life, always in motion, always returning home. Other times, they danced alone. A single figure glided forward, her shadow stretching long across the stone. Her silence filled the hall. Each step was measured, each gesture heavy with meaning. The watchers felt as if they, too, were moving, carried within the quiet current of her devotion. The dance of the sacred never ended in noise. It always drifted into stillness. The steps grew slower, the gestures smaller. The circle came to a gentle close. The arms lowered, the robes settled, the silence deepened. The prayer was complete. The dancers knelt, and the night folded itself back into quiet. Yet the rhythm remained. It lived on in the hearts of all who had watched. It lingered in the air like the soft glow of incense. It traveled with them into their dreams. For once, the body has prayed in movement. The soul continues the dance in silence. Now, let yourself drift with that rhythm. Imagine the soft sway of bodies in torchlight. Imagine the gentle rise and fall of hands, the echo of drums, the hush of robes. Feel your breath moving the same way. Slow, calm, endless. The sacred dance continues within you. It carries you deeper into rest. It reminds you that you, too, are part of the eternal rhythm, that your heart is a drum, that your breath is a tide, that your dreams are a circle ever returning, ever whole. Now the torches fade, now the moon grows pale, now the dancers rest, their prayer complete. The courtyard lies still, the earth holding the memory of every step. The night listens, the stars whisper, and you drift, carried in the gentle dance of silence. Let us drift onward into the deeper night, where the sacred dance softens into dream, and the stars return. The night is soft. The moon hangs low, round and glowing like a lantern above the fields. The air carries the smell of grain, warm earth, and the faint sweetness of ripened fruit. In the distance, an owl calls. Its wings stir the silence, then fade again into stillness. You stand at the edge of a wide plain. The land stretches far, gentle and endless, bathed in silver light. The furrows of soil lie waiting, like lines of a great poem written upon the earth. It is here, in this deep and fertile quiet, that the keepers of the harvest begin their work. For as long as memory has flowed, women have walked the fields with reverence. They bent to plant seeds, their hands blessing the soil. They lifted baskets of fruit, their voices murmuring songs of thanks. They traced the rhythm of seasons as if they were sacred verses. In ancient times, the harvest was not just food. It was life itself. It was the breath of the village, the heartbeat of the year. And those who guided the harvest were seen as guardians of abundance, keepers of the delicate balance between earth and sky. Imagine the women at dawn, their robes brushed with dew, their hair lit by the first strands of light. They walked slowly into the fields, their steps soft, their voices weaving songs that rose like mist. Each note was a prayer for growth, each sound a blessing on the seeds hidden beneath the soil. Some carried clay jars of water, drawn from wells and streams. They poured the water gently, letting it soak the earth, letting it seep into the waiting roots. Others scattered grains as offerings, small handfuls lifted high, released to the wind and the watching birds. The air itself seemed to listen, as if the soil, the seeds, and the sky leaned closer to hear. In the old stories of Mesopotamia, the goddess Inanna was linked with the fertile land. Her blessings were sought when wheat sprouted, when barley swayed golden in the sun. Priestesses carried her symbols into the fields. They sang of her love, and the crops were believed to grow stronger beneath her gaze. In Greece, Demeter was honored, the goddess of harvest and grain. Her worshippers told how she grieved when her daughter was taken, and how the earth withered in sorrow. But when joy returned, the fields bloomed again. Her story was not only myth, it was a mirror of the seasons, a reminder that growth and loss are both part of the eternal cycle. Farther east, women danced around rice paddies in Asia. They carried bowls of grain, their hands scattering seeds like stars across the soil. Every gesture was filled with care. Every offering was a promise, a whisper to the land that life would return again. The keepers of the harvest did not rush. They moved with patience, with quiet dignity. Their work was steady, like the turning of the year itself. Each season held its own rhythm, its own song. In spring they planted. The seeds were like sleeping children placed gently into the soil. The women prayed for rain, for sun, for protection from harsh winds. Their songs drifted like lullabies, settling into the earth with the seeds. In summer, they tended the fields. They walked between rows of green, watching each stalk rise, touching the leaves with care. Their presence was a shield, their devotion a kind of light that seemed to strengthen the crops. In autumn, they reaped. The golden fields bent heavy with grain. The women carried sickles, but their motions were not harsh. They cut gently, their movements flowing like water. They gathered the harvest into baskets, lifting it high to the sky, offering thanks before bringing it home. And in winter they rested. They sat by the fire, telling stories of gods and goddesses, of seeds that slept beneath the cold soil, of the promise of return. They reminded their children that nothing ends, that every seed holds tomorrow within it. Imagine sitting at the edge of one such fire. The night is long and calm. The women's voices are low, their stories weaving through the crackle of wood. They speak of fields that will rise again, of rivers that will flow once more, of the quiet power hidden in the smallest seed. Their words fall softly, like snow across the earth, covering the world in silence and hope. The children drift into sleep by the fire, their heads resting on folded arms. The women smile gently, knowing the land, too, is sleeping, waiting for its time to wake. The harvest rituals were more than survival. They were communion. Each gesture of planting, each song of gratitude, was a reminder that humans and earth were bound together in a sacred circle. To take from the land was also to give. To receive abundance was also to bow in humility. The women understood this balance. They were keepers not only of crops but of harmony. They taught that the soil is alive, that seeds carry memory, that the earth breathes with us. Their devotion fed more than the body. It nourished the spirit. There were moments when harvest turned into festival. The air filled with laughter, with the slow beat of drums, with the sway of simple dances. Fires were lit at the edge of the fields. Baskets overflowed with fruit and grain. The people ate together, giving thanks for the bounty of the year. The women led these celebrations. They carried wreaths of wheat in their hair, their faces glowing in the firelight. Their songs rose into the night, calling to the moon, to the stars, to the unseen spirits of the land. It was joy, but it was still sacred. A joy that was gentle, a joy that honored the earth without taking more than was given. Close your eyes and let the image soften. See the moonlit fields stretching far. See the women moving slowly, their steps steady as the seasons. Hear the faint echo of their songs. Feel the calm weight of abundance, the comfort of knowing the earth provides, the reassurance that cycles will return. Your breath is like the planting of seeds. Slow, deep, settling into stillness. Your rest is like the harvest, a gathering of peace, a gathering of quiet strength. The rhythm of the earth is within you, gentle, steady, eternal. The torches by the field grow dim. The last basket is set down. The women fold their robes, their work complete for the night. The soil lies quiet, holding both memory and promise. The stars lean close, watching, guarding. Now let yourself drift as the keepers of the harvest rest. let the cycles of Earth guide you deeper into calm. The seeds of sleep are planted. The harvest of dreams awaits. Let us drift onward, into stillness, into peace, as the stars return. The desert lies before you, vast and unbroken. Its sands are soft under the glow of the moon. The air is cool, yet it carries the memory of heat, a warmth that lingers even as night stretches wide. Above, the sky is endless, its stars scattered like grains of light across a sea of dark velvet. Each star is still, watching, listening. You walk slowly through this quiet expanse. Your steps sink gently into the sand. The silence is deep but not empty. It is alive with whispers, with echoes of prayers, with the soft breath of winds that drift over dunes like waves upon a sleeping sea. Here, in this timeless place, the desert mothers are remembered. They were protectors, guides for the weary, keepers of rest and of water. They watched over those who wandered the endless sands. They offered shelter to travelers who feared the night. Their presence was felt not in loud power, but in gentle mercy, in kindness, in the gift of life beneath an unforgiving sky. The desert was always a place of trial. Its heat by day could burn, its cold by night could pierce. Its emptiness stretched on for days, a horizon without end. Travelers often feared it, yet they also revered it, for within the vast silence, something holy could be found. The desert mothers knew this truth. They understood the stillness of sand, the mystery of wind, the deep wisdom of stars. They built shrines at oases, small sanctuaries of shade and water. Clay jars were filled for strangers, palm branches bent in welcome, and within the simple walls, candles burned. Their light flickered against stone, a reminder that no soul was ever abandoned in the vastness of the world. Some said these mothers were once priestesses. Others believed they were goddesses themselves, spirits born of sand and sky. In Egypt, Hathor was honored as a traveler's guide, her image carved on desert roads to bless those who passed. Her temples stood like beacons, their stones reflecting sunlight by day and torchlight by night. Her presence was both fierce and tender, a mother who comforted, a goddess who protected. Farther west, in the deserts of Arabia, tribes spoke of women who prayed beside wells. Their hands lifted bowls of water to strangers. Their songs blessed the journeys of caravans. They were not only givers of drink, they were givers of hope. For in the desert, a single drop of water was a promise that life could continue. Imagine a traveler alone at twilight. His steps are slow, his lips dry. The desert stretches endless and the shadows deepen. He fears the night, the silence, the unknown that waits in the dark. Then, far ahead, he sees a faint glow. A fire burns within an oasis. Palm leaves rustle in the gentle breeze. He hears voices, low, calm, singing as though the night itself were being cradled. When he arrives, he finds women gathered. Their faces glow in the firelight. They smile, offering him a bowl of water. He drinks, and the dryness fades. They lay woven mats for him, soft places of rest. They cover him with cloth to guard against the chill. The traveler sleeps, his heart eased, his fear stilled. He knows he has been touched by the kindness of the desert mothers. Their rituals were simple, yet filled with meaning. At dawn, they greeted the sun with songs. Their voices rose like birds into the vastness of the sky. At midday, they poured water upon the ground, an offering of thanks for the oases that gave life to their people. At night, they lit lamps beside wells so that no traveler would pass in darkness. Each act was a prayer, each gesture a thread in the great tapestry of care. Some myths tell of women who became stars. When their lives ended, their souls were said to rise into the heavens. They shone above the dunes, their light guiding caravans at night. The desert sky, so wide and endless, was believed to be filled with these spirits. Every star was a mother, watching from above, her glow a reminder that no journey was ever taken alone. The desert itself seemed to honor them. When winds rose, they carried the sound of distant songs. When palms swayed, their leaves whispered blessings. Even the sand, shifting in endless waves, was like a great sea that bore their memory. Their stories were not about power. They were about tenderness. They were about the quiet strength that gives without asking in return, about the gentle hands that lift others when they fall. The desert mothers were symbols of rest, of safe passage, of sacred kindness in a world that could be harsh and unforgiving. Close your eyes and feel the desert night around you. The sand is cool beneath your feet. The stars above are countless, their light falling soft upon your path. Somewhere, you hear the faint trickle of water. An oasis waits nearby, its palms reaching upward like open hands. You step closer. There is firelight. There is song. The women sit in a circle, their eyes calm, their presence steady. One offers you water, another lays a blanket over your shoulders. The fear of the night fades. The vast desert no longer feels empty. It feels alive, filled with care, filled with unseen guardians who walk quietly beside you. The desert mothers remind you of cycles, like the dunes that shift, like the stars that move across the sky. Everything flows. Struggle passes. Fear passes. Even thirst is quenched in time. The sand that once burned in daylight is now cool beneath the moon. The silence that once seemed heavy is now soft, a cradle for your rest. Their gift was not only water, not only food. Their true gift was peace. The peace of knowing you are cared for. The peace of feeling that the world holds you gently, even in its vastness. The night deepens. The fire burns lower. The desert mothers sing one last song, a lullaby carried on the breeze. It drifts across the dunes, wrapping the desert in stillness. The stars lean closer, their light shimmering like silver dust. Now let yourself drift as the traveler once did. Feel the weight of the desert slip away. Feel the calm of water given freely. Feel the safety of voices in the night. The sands are quiet. The mothers are near. The stars are watching. You are safe. Let us drift onward, into rest, into peace, as the stars return. The night opens like a silk curtain, its folds spreading across the endless sky. The stars seem slower tonight, softer, as if they too are ready to rest. And beneath them, in the stillness of ancient time, a fire glows within the circle of sand. The flames do not roar. They hum gently, casting shadows that dance and sway. The listener drifts here at the edge of the desert, where the wind hums its ancient songs. And here, stories are told not in hurried voices, but in whispers that move like the tide. The elders speak of women who carried within them 2 rivers. One river flowed with tenderness, blessing fields, blessing children, blessing travelers. The other river carried thunder and storm, a shield against harm, a fire against injustice. Together they were called the shadow and the light. In the hush of dawn, these women were mothers. They were soft hands resting on tired shoulders. They were the ones who carried bowls of water to the thirsty. They soothed the brow of the sick with herbs and prayer. Their presence was like a cool shade under desert sun. To be near them was to feel safe, held in a quiet embrace. Yet when danger arose, when darkness threatened to consume the village, they became something else. Eyes that once looked gentle became sharp as polished obsidian. Voices that sang lullabies now roared with command. They were shields of fire, guardians of the sacred flame. They stood unshaken when others trembled. In one ancient tale, the goddess was imagined as 2 faces upon one form. One half glowed like ivory in the moonlight. Her smile softened the heart of even the cruelest warrior. The other half was darker, etched in storm and flame. Her gaze could burn away the shadows of fear. She was not torn between these sides. She was whole, light and shadow bound together. Travelers prayed to her before crossing the desert. They asked for her kindness in times of weakness. They asked for her strength in moments of danger, for they knew the journey required both. Gentle water for thirst and sharp courage for survival. You drift deeper now, as if you are one of those travelers. The sand is soft beneath your feet, each step sinking gently into earth. The air carries both silence and song. The stars above are guides, but the desert is vast. You feel the need for both tenderness and fire. You whisper to the unseen goddess, asking her to walk beside you, both as mother and protector. The wind rises. It does not harm, it carries comfort, brushing your skin like a cloak. A feeling grows in your chest. That balance of softness and strength already lives within you. It has always been there. The goddess only reminds you of it. The ancients spoke of shadow not as evil, but as part of the whole. The shadow cools when the sun is too fierce. The shadow holds secrets, waiting for the right time to be revealed. The light warms, nurtures, and shows the path. Together they weave harmony, as day and night must follow one another. The divine women embodied this truth. They did not hide their shadow, nor did they cling only to the light. They wore both as sacred garments. In their laughter the people found joy. In their fury, the people found protection. The soul of the village rested in their balance. Picture a mother by the fire. Her child sleeps, breath steady as the stars. She hums a soft tune, each note gentle as falling ash. Her eyes are pools of kindness. But when a sudden cry pierces the night, an enemy at the gates, a beast stirring in the dark. She rises, her body strong, her spirit blazing. In her shadow, danger retreats. In her light, peace returns. Such was the way of the sacred women. They were never only one thing. They were not trapped by softness, nor chained by fierceness. They carried both, and in this carrying, they taught balance. Let this story drift into your own breath. There are times when you need to be soft, as the light of dawn. There are times when you need to be strong, as the mountain at dusk. Neither is wrong, neither is alone. They belong together like shadow and sun, like night and morning. The divine women remind the soul that wholeness is not found in one side, but in the gentle weaving of both. The fire in the desert circle begins to dim. The shadows it casts are longer now, stretching into silence. The stars return, brighter, clearer, watching with calm eyes. The winds settle, brushing only faintly against the sand, and the story of shadow and light lingers in the still air. You rest in that balance now. Softness cradles you, strength protects you. Both live in your breath, in your heart, in your sleep. The ancient voices grow quieter, like fading echoes in the dunes. The flame whispers its last sparks, then folds into ash. The night is vast, endless, and kind. Now drift as the stars return. Drift as shadow and light embrace you. Drift onward in perfect balance. The night is wide and still. The stars lean closer as though listening. A gentle hush spreads across the ancient land, and within that silence, a sound begins. It is not loud. It is not hurried. It is the voice of a priestess. Her song drifts like smoke from a quiet flame. It rises, steady and unbroken, circling the stone walls of the temple. It climbs upward, toward the high arches where lamps burn low. The sound is old, older than memory. It carries the weight of centuries, yet it feels as light as a feather resting on water. You step gently into this dream. The temple is lit by oil lamps, their flames swaying like tiny dancers. The air smells of cedar and myrrh, of flowers left as offerings at the altar. Shadows ripple across the carved pillars, where stories of gods and goddesses are etched into stone. And through the stillness, the priestess sings. Her voice is not only a sound, it is a current. It moves around you, beneath you, within you. It presses into the corners of your chest, where old weariness hides. And with every note, it softens what was once heavy. Long ago, the people believed that the world itself was born in song. The mountains were raised by hymns, the rivers were carved by melody. The stars themselves were lit like lanterns when the first priestess lifted her voice. So when the people were tired, they came to the temple. When they were lost, they came to listen. For in the voice of the priestess was a memory of the world's beginning. It reminded them that they too were part of a song. You listen now. Her chant flows like a river, repeating, turning, never rushing. Each phrase folds gently into the next, like waves meeting on a quiet shore. Her words are ancient, in a tongue no longer spoken, but their meaning does not need translation. It is the language of comfort, the language of return. The sound circles you, wrapping around your shoulders like a cloak. It tells you that you are safe. It tells you that nothing is demanded of you now, except to breathe, to rest, to listen. The people of old believed the priestess' songs were bridges. Each note stretched across the sky, joining the earth below with the heavens above. To sing was to stitch the two realms together. To listen was to walk the bridge, to rise without moving, to drift without effort. And so they came by candlelight. Farmers with soil still on their hands, mothers carrying children, elders leaning on carved staffs, all entered the circle of sound. And in that circle, no one was poor, no one was weary. All were lifted into the same soft light. The priestess' songs were also medicine, not medicine brewed in jars or crushed into powders, but medicine that touched places no hand could reach. The voice entered the restless heart. It soothed the trembling spirit. It gave sleep to the eyes that had long been awake. Even the earth seemed to pause when she sang. The crickets stilled their chorus. The wind hushed its wandering. The flames of the lamps burned steadier, as if listening too. You close your eyes within this vision. The song is still there. It seems to move not only through the air, but through the very ground. It vibrates in the stone beneath your feet. It trembles in the walls of the temple, and it enters your breath, so that each inhale carries her melody, and each exhale releases your burden. You are part of the song now. It does not only surround you, it carries you. Like a bird held in a current of warm air, you rise gently, without effort. In some tales, the priestess was said to sing at the edge of dawn. Her hymn would call the sun out of its chamber. With her voice, she would paint the first light on the horizon, and the people believed that without her, the day would not come. Her song was the turning of time itself. In other tales, she sang to the moon. Her chant wove silver paths across the water, so the spirits of the departed could find their way home. Every note was a lantern floating in the sky. Every pause was a doorway for the soul to pass through. The stories differ, but in all of them, her song was never only for herself. It was for the world, for the tired, for the wandering, for the grieving. Now imagine you are lying upon the smooth stones of that temple floor. Your head rests on folded cloth. Your body is warm, wrapped in the quiet of the night. The song moves above you like a river flowing overhead. You need not follow it. You need not understand it. You need only let it pass through you, like light through glass. Your heart begins to beat slower. Your breath deepens, softer with each rise and fall. The edges of the world blur, as though sound itself has become a blanket around you. The ancients said the voice of the priestess was born of both earth and sky. From the earth it carried the ache of human sorrow. From the sky it carried the promise of endless peace. When the two met, the sound was whole. And so when you listened, you too became whole. You feel that wholeness now. Your shadow and your light, your weariness and your hope, your silence and your song, all of it rests together, held by the hymn. The chant softens. It fades like a candle burning low. The last notes linger, shimmering in the air. They echo against the walls of the temple, then melt into silence. But even in silence, the song is still there. It lingers in your chest, a gentle vibration that continues, even when no sound is heard. The priestess lowers her head. The lamps flicker one last time. The people return to their homes, hearts lighter, souls steadier, and the night embraces them all. Now in your rest, the hymn remains. It moves with your breath. It softens your body, slows your thoughts, and wraps you in safety. Let it carry you deeper into the quiet. Let it lift you into the still sky. Let it hold you until dawn comes again. The song is medicine. The song is a bridge. The song is peace. Now drift onward as the stars return, and the songs of the priestess follow you into dream. The night has folded into silence. The stars shimmer above like lanterns strung across the sky. The air carries a faint sweetness of blossoms, and the slow curl of incense drifts, rising like silver smoke toward the heavens. In the heart of this stillness stands a temple. Its gates are wide, its pillars tall. Every stone breathes of age, worn smooth by countless hands and footsteps, by countless prayers whispered into its walls. And within, glowing softly in the lamplight, rests the throne of the goddess. The throne is not carved from cold stone. It is alive with warmth, gilded with gold, that catches even the faintest light. Its arms curl like vines, its seat glimmers with woven silks. Upon it, the goddess sits, her presence both vast and gentle. Her eyes are steady pools, calm as still water under the moon. Her hands rest lightly, palms open as though ready to bless. Around her crown, the air glows faintly, as if the very atmosphere bends in quiet devotion. You step softly into this vision. The hall of the temple is hushed. The people have gathered, yet no voices rise. Only the sound of sandals brushing stone. Only the faint sigh of incense. And then the soft rustle of petals as worshippers kneel, offering flowers at the goddess's feet. Each blossom is placed with care. Roses for love, lotus blooms for purity, olive branches for peace. They gather at the base of the throne, a garden grown not from soil, but from devotion. The goddess does not speak. Her silence is the language of eternity. Yet in that silence, all are answered. For the people do not come seeking words. They come seeking stillness, and in her gaze, they find it. One by one, the worshippers bow. Their foreheads touch the stone floor. Their bodies bend in quiet reverence, and though no command is given, their hearts know they are seen, they are held, they are safe. The incense continues to rise. Its trails twist like soft rivers, flowing upward toward unseen skies. The air grows heavier with fragrance, cedar, sandalwood, jasmine. Every breath carries the sacred scent deeper within, as though the spirit itself is being perfumed. Light flickers from tall brass lamps. The flames dance but do not roar. They glow steady and golden, their glow reflecting against the throne. The whole hall becomes a chamber of gold. Walls, pillars, floor, even the faces of those gathered, all shine with that gentle reflection. as if the goddess has spread her light into everything that surrounds her. Ancient stories tell that the goddess's throne was more than a seat. It was the still center of the world. From it, rivers flowed. From it, harvest ripened. From it, the balance of sky and earth was kept. When storms threatened, the people turned their eyes to the throne. When famine whispered, they brought their first fruits to its steps. When joy returned, they placed garlands and sang hymns. The throne was the axis, the unmoving heart around which life itself turned. You stand at the edge of the gathering now. The air hums faintly. It is not the sound of voices, but of presence, of breath shared in sacred rhythm. The people inhale together. The people exhale together. The room becomes one vast chest, rising and falling as though the temple itself is alive. The goddess remains still. Her throne gleams softly. She is the anchor in the center of their quiet tide. Around her all is movement, incense, flowers, breath, devotion. Yet she herself does not move. She simply is. A young child steps forward. In her small hands is a clay bowl filled with water from the river. She places it gently on the step below the throne. The water reflects the golden light, shimmering like liquid sunlight. The child bows, and the goddess's eyes seem to soften, though no word is spoken. Behind the child comes an elder. He carries no offering but his years. He kneels slowly, his body bending like an ancient tree, and rests in silence before her. The goddess does not ask for more. His presence, his long journey, is enough. The throne itself tells a story. Its carvings are intricate. Shapes of vines and rivers, suns and moons. Each symbol speaks of balance, of life and death, of seed and harvest, of light and shadow. And in the center of it all, the goddess sits, the living thread that ties all opposites together. She is strength and softness. She is dawn and dusk. She is the hand that nurtures and the shield that protects. As you watch, the room seems to blur into a dream. The gold light spreads wider, glowing not only within the temple walls but across the land beyond. It flows into the fields, where wheat bends gently in the breeze. It glimmers across rivers where fish rise close to the surface. It falls upon the mountains, where snow gleams in pale light. The goddess's throne is not bound to this room. It sits at the center of all things. Wherever there is breath, wherever there is stillness, her throne abides. You close your eyes within this vision. The throne remains, shining quietly in your mind. The goddess remains calm and eternal. The flowers rest at her feet, never wilting in this dream. The incense still rises, carrying prayers higher than the sky. You breathe with the worshippers. Your breath joins their breath. The air hums softly, a chorus of silence. And in that silence, your body begins to loosen. Your heart begins to slow. Your thoughts begin to fade, like petals carried gently away on water. The night deepens. The temple is cloaked in stillness. One by one, the worshippers leave. Their footsteps echo softly, fading into the outer courtyards. The lamps burn lower, their flames small but steady. And still the throne glows. And still the goddess remains. The great doors of the temple close. The hush inside grows even deeper. Only the throne and its golden radiance endure, timeless, unshaken, unmoved. Now in your rest the vision lingers. You carry the golden throne within you. It sits in the center of your being, a place of balance, a place of peace. Around it, your thoughts may rise and fall, like petals drifting in the air. But the throne remains steady, and upon it the goddess rests, calm and eternal. Let her stillness cradle you. Let her light guide you deeper into quiet. Let her throne become the soft center of your dream. Now drift onward as the stars return and the golden throne shines softly in the silence. The night is quiet. Stars scatter gently across the wide heavens like pearls resting on dark silk. A soft wind moves through unseen trees, carrying with it the scent of earth, of flowers folded for sleep, of waters that run quietly beneath the surface of the world. The air feels hushed, as if all of creation leans into stillness. In this silence, there is a presence. She has been here since the beginning. She has been called by many names across many lands, but here she is simply the Eternal Mother, the source from which all rivers flow, the breath that warms every child, the embrace that holds the world when it grows tired. Long ago, when people first looked at the stars, they did not see only light. They saw eyes watching over them. They felt a great being who poured kindness into the soil, who painted the dawn with color, who wrapped night in gentle shadows. Some called her the Great Mother. Others called her Lady of the Earth, She of the Waters, the Queen of Heaven. Yet beneath every name was the same feeling of being loved, without end, without condition. Villages built small shrines to her, under trees, beside wells, near caves where echoes lingered. Each shrine was a whisper of gratitude. People left milk in clay bowls. They placed seeds, fruits, flowers, and woven cloth. Nothing was too small to offer, for they believed she saw the heart behind the gift, not the size of it. In the temples of stone, her image was carved. She was shown as a woman seated, her arms wide, her lap open as if ready to hold all of creation. Some statues carried symbols of grain, others held children, and some rested their hands upon lions or birds. In every form she was the same, strong, gentle, endless. Her stories lived in many lands. In the valleys where rivers sang, people said she rose from the waters, carrying life in her arms. In deserts, she was seen as the oasis, the hidden spring that kept wanderers alive. In mountains, she was the stone itself, steady, unmoving, a mother who never abandons her children. The Eternal Mother was not only in sacred places. She was in the hearth where bread was baked. She was in the lullabies sung at night. She was in the fields, in the gardens, in the laughter of children, and in the quiet tears of those who mourned, for her embrace was wide enough for both joy and sorrow. Imagine now a gathering at twilight. The sky glows with the last fire of the sun. A circle of people gather around a tall stone carved with her form. Torches burn low, and the scent of pine resin drifts into the night air. Women begin to hum, their voices low like the hum of bees. Men join softly, deep tones weaving beneath. Children sit close, listening, their eyes reflecting the flames. The chant rises slowly, carrying her names across the darkening fields. They sing of her as the giver of wheat, as the keeper of the moon, as the nurse of the newborn, as the endless arms of night that never let go. The sound is not hurried. It moves like waves on a calm sea. Each note is a heartbeat, steady, gentle, eternal. Those who prayed to her believed she lived not above them, but within them. Every mother carrying a child was seen as her vessel. Every act of kindness was seen as her touch. Every harvest was her gift, every storm her warning, every dawn her blessing. They told stories of her resting deep within the earth, her body as vast as mountains. In spring, when green shoots broke through the soil, they said she was stretching, waking, smiling at her children. When autumn came and fields turned golden, they said she opened her arms, giving back all she had grown. And when winter fell, cold and long, they whispered that she had gone to rest, but her love still warmed the roots below. Her cycle was the cycle of the world. Her breath was the rhythm of time. Close your eyes for a moment and picture her throne. It is not of gold or jewels, though temples once imagined it so. Her throne is the earth itself. Mountains are the pillars beneath her seat. Rivers are the folds of her robe. Forests are her hair, flowing in green waves across the land. The sky is her crown, filled with stars that shine like gems. She sits in silence, but her silence speaks. It says you belong. You are loved. You are safe. There is a tale from old lands of the north. They said the Eternal Mother gave birth not to children, but to the world itself. The seas poured from her hands, the winds from her breath, the fire from her heart. The first people were shaped from her clay, warmed by her touch, and sent forth to walk the earth as her living prayers. Another tale from the east spoke of her as the moon, watching over sleepers. When children closed their eyes, they said she leaned close, humming soft songs only the heart could hear. The dreams she sent were gentle rivers, carrying weary souls toward morning. And in the far deserts, they said she was the shade that protected travelers. When heat burned and thirst pressed heavy, they believed she placed her veil across the sun to ease the journey. Everywhere, in every voice, her love was told in stories. No people were forgotten. No creature was too small. Her arms stretched across the world, as wide as the sky itself. Even now, in this quiet moment, you may feel her presence. The pillow beneath your head is her lap. The blanket over you is her robe. The air that enters your lungs is her breath, slow and steady. The beating of your heart is her rhythm, keeping time for you, reminding you that you are never alone. She has no single temple, no single song, no single face. She's the soft voice that tells you to rest. She is the warmth that whispers you are loved. She is the Eternal Mother, and she has always been here. And so, the old chants continue. From deep caves where torches once burned, from wide fields where drums echoed, from temples where incense curled upward like smoke returning to the sky, from hearths where children once laughed, her song is still carried on the wind. Her presence is still in the stars. Her story is still in the earth beneath your feet. Now let the night deepen. Let the silence fold around you. You are in her arms, safe and at peace. The Eternal Mother watches over all things, and she watches over you. Let your breath fall soft and slow. Let your thoughts settle like leaves drifting to the ground. Let your heart rest in her embrace. And when the stars return again, they will shine with her memory, her endless love, her eternal care. Now drift onward as the night carries you. Rest, child of the Eternal Mother. Rest and be at peace. The night is deep. The air has grown cool, like a gentle veil laid upon the earth. Stars shimmer in quiet patience above, each one a distant lamp burning in silence. A soft wind moves slowly, stirring the grasses, carrying the fragrance of pine and the faint sweetness of flowers now folded in sleep. The circle of devotion waits. It is where our path began, and where it now returns. A ring of candles, each flame flickering with a steady glow, holds the night in gentle balance. The light does not dazzle. It is soft, like a lullaby made visible, a reminder that even in darkness, warmth remains. Hear the stories that were spoken, the chants that were sung, the prayers that rose like incense, all come to rest. They linger in the air as faint echoes, not loud enough to stir, only tender enough to cradle the spirit. Those who once gathered around the circle imagined it as the heart of the world. The fire at its center was seen as the first spark, the one that lit the sun, the stars, and the breath within every living being. The circle itself was a mirror of the heavens, with every candle like a star, bound together in harmony. Within it, there was no beginning and no end. The people believed that just as a circle returns to itself, so too does every story, every soul, every moment of life. What departs will return, what is born will rest, what fades will bloom again. And so the closing circle of light was not an end, but a gentle turning, a slow breath drawn inward, a hand folding softly back into the palm. Picture now the worshippers at twilight. They walk with quiet steps, carrying small bowls of oil. Each bowl is placed upon the edge of the circle. One by one, the flames are touched and lit until the ring glows golden in the night. The air is hushed. Children rest against their mothers. Elders close their eyes, remembering the songs of long ago. The wind pauses, as if listening. Then the priestess lifts her hands. Her voice is not loud, but steady, as she chants words older than memory. She names the divine figures who guided them. The goddess enthroned in golden majesty, the Eternal Mother who held the world in her arms, the spirits of water, of sky, of grain, of stars. Her words weave them all together, like threads bound into a single cloth. And the people answer softly, their voices carrying like the murmur of a stream at night. The circle glows, and within its glow faces shine gently. Tears of gratitude glisten. Smiles flicker faintly like the flames themselves. There is no fear here, no hunger, no pain. Only belonging, only rest. In this sacred circle, they say the soul feels its true home. It remembers that it is not a part, but a part of the whole. Every heart is a candle. Every life is a flame. Every breath is a prayer that joins the great fire at the center. The stories we have walked through now fold themselves back into silence. The golden throne fades into the dark, leaving only the memory of majesty wrapped in calm. The Eternal Mother closes her wide arms, her presence settling into the quiet soil, into the stars, into the pulse of your own heart. The priestess lowers her song, and the last notes drift upward, vanishing into the night sky. But nothing is lost. Every song, every prayer, every dream that rose into the air is gathered here, in the closing circle of light. It is a place where all paths meet, where all stories bow, where all hearts are soothed. Close your eyes, and imagine sitting at the edge of this circle. The grass beneath you is soft. The air is cool, but the fire warms your skin. The candles sway gently, their flames leaning and rising like dancers moving to an unseen rhythm. You do not need to speak. You do not need to move. You are simply here, in the stillness, part of the quiet devotion that wraps itself around you. You are safe. You are held. You are part of the circle, and the circle is endless. In some lands they told of this moment as the return to the womb of the Great Mother. In others they said it was the closing of the Book of Stars, the night drawing its cover over the day. Elsewhere, it was called the weaving of threads, the joining of all colors into one. But no matter the story, the meaning was the same: rest, peace, wholeness. The closing circle was always the place where the soul could set down its burdens, where it could exhale without fear, where it could lie down and feel the earth as a bed, the sky as a blanket, the flame as a guardian. The chant fades and silence grows. One by one the candles are lowered, until only the central flame remains. It burns steady, golden, unwavering. The people gaze at it with softened eyes, knowing it is the same flame that will be lit again at dawn, the same flame that burns in the heart of every living being. The circle is not broken. It simply closes like an eyelid at the edge of sleep. The light remains even when hidden. The warmth remains even when unseen. Now the night is yours. You drift within the circle, embraced by the same love that guided countless souls before you. The stories no longer need words, for they have settled within your spirit. The goddesses and mothers, the songs and prayers, the temples and rivers, they are all inside you now, quiet, shining, whole. Rest in the circle of light. Rest in the endless embrace. Rest in the stillness of the eternal. The stars lean close, their glow softened, their voices hushed. The earth breathes slowly beneath you, cradling you as the eternal mother once did. The fire in the circle lowers itself into embers, a warm heartbeat against the cool night. And you, child of the divine, are carried into peace. No burdens, no weight, only the closing circle of light. Let it hold you, let it soothe you, let it carry you into sleep. Now drift onward into the quiet beyond words. Now rest as the stars return,